Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. This is our third episode and we're ready to go on to a new episode in which we do Gateon Port. And spoiler alert, we're about to get 2 new Shadow Pokemon and do a couple of things in this place that's decently cool. I mean, we're just starting the game, so you can't do all the cool stuff yet because you have to actually begin something. But, to do an introduction like we usually like to do, my name is J-Ron and I have a co-host who I like to call here named...
Sensei Mewtwo12345.
And we're hoping it's going to be a good episode. And speaking of episode, like I said already, we're going to do Gateon Port today. And before we head on out, we last left you where we had the cutscene with Mr. Verich, where Jovi ran into Zook, who for some reason has super ego, even though he's not even that cool. And so he ran into Zook, and he was about to try to beat us up, even though we're little children. And Mr. Verich stepped in, and his bodyguards were like, "Not today, son," and he beat them up. Well, him up, them, if you count his Zangoose, whatever.
Kind of like the Dementors, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And so
alert.
It's kind of funny if you go around and talk to some people right here, because if you talk to the people here in the town, a lot of them talk about Mr. Verich, and he's supposed to be really wealthy, like they said, and apparently they're really strong too. The bodyguards are.
Verich.
And yeah, like Sensei said last time, it's a play on words, very rich, even though I thought at first it was Mr. Verich. And so, like I was saying, if you talk to a lot of different people, no, I don't know what you want to tell me. Oh, yeah, he's just going to explain to us this. This is the Pokemon Center. It doesn't look like the same Pokemon Center in most games, and that's the Pokemon Shop. They function the same as every game. You just go into the Pokemon Center to revive your Pokemon and to go into your PC being what you use to deposit and withdraw Pokemon once you have more than 6. And there's always a couple people in each place, and these guys talk about Mr. Verich as well, and that's how you get your Pokemon revived. Anyways, so Pokemart is where you can buy stuff such as potions, antidotes, and later in the game, Pokeballs. However, we're not to that part yet, and so to finish my thought on Verich, everybody in this town really loves him because
by the way, if you go into the shop, I'm going to say it right now, do not waste your money on awakenings. You can just call your Pokemon to wake them up.
Yeah, in this game, it's a lot different from other ones because you have to use Awakening or have to wait for them to get up. However, you could just call them like you used for the Shadow Pokemon and they wake up. And so everybody in this town loves Mr. Verich because he's been donating lots of money to everybody to have them party like day and night. And it's really quite funny because once we go to this place called the Krabby Club, this guy is like, "We're only going to let you in if you beat me in a battle because everybody here is really tough," even though that guy is clearly not very tough. And
throws out 2 level 6s.
Yeah. And so he's going to throw out a Wingull and a Lotad, and like Sensei said, they're only level 6, so it's not even a challenge, and so he's kind of a wimp. And so as to trainers in this area, we're going to have to fight quite a few trainers, although that's usually pretty good. Because there's, like I said earlier, 2 Shadow Pokemon. We can also get experience and Pokedollars to buy stuff. And so back to the battle. Let's see, can you use a Bite on Wingull and Shadow Blitz on Lotad.
And like we said, all of the Shadow Pokemon's Shadow moves are super effective to Pokemon that are not Shadow Pokemon.
Yeah, they're super effective to every single type except for Shadow Pokemon, which are not very effective to. And so, like you can see, it almost killed Lotad, but that's also because Lotad's level 6. The unfortunate side is it doesn't get Stab, which if you guys know your Pokemon, Stab is same type, attack, base, or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you use the same type, attack that you are, then you end up doing 1.5 times the damage, and if you use that in Cahoots, I was gonna say Cahoots. If you use that along with super effective, it stacks up and you get really high damage output.
Basically, you would get 3 times damage instead of 2 times damage.
And most of the people who are watching this have probably played a lot of Pokemon before.
Yeah, you probably understand this.
Yeah, but we're gonna explain it anyway. Just a few things. I mean, obviously you can figure things out like level. We got experience points, we just gained level. That's too common in video games to not explain. I mean, to explain. Whatever the case. And so our Shadow Pokemon it hasn't been saying that they've been getting experience. However, they do. It just doesn't show it because that's for the shadow Pokemon. They don't get all their experience until after you purify their hearts and unlock them completely, and then all of a sudden they get all their experience all at once, and they pretty much just boost in level like no tomorrow.
Also, a fun fact about battle damage. Just a little bit of trivia for all of you who like Pokemon trivia. I believe the highest amount of damage you could possibly do is you could get a multiplier of times 18. And that's like a perfect situation of doubly super effective, stab, and the weather in your favor. So
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different things to increase your attack power. One of them, like Sensei said, there's weather type moves that do it by 1.5 if you have, like, if it's raining, water stronger. If it's sunny, fire stronger, so forth. There's also same type attack. There's also super effective, and you can do super effective times 2 because there's 2 types. And then there's also items.
And a critical hit, I forgot that part.
And then there's critical hit, and then there's special abilities that increase certain things in certain situations. Anyways, so this is the Krabby Cafe, and the Krabby Cafe is where all the sailors seem to go to get their entertainment, which is pretty sick because, I mean, these girls are obviously not doing anything wrong, but if you talk to them,
they're obviously like 3 years old.
Wow, hold up, you're too young to appreciate the scats of these seats up close, lad. And it's like, okay.
Oh,
and you talk to this guy,
lad.
Yeah, let's hear it, razzle dazzle, oh yeah. Those girls are top-billed duo of the Krabby Club. They call themselves the Magicians. They can sing, they can dance, they can do a decent magic act too. They're triple threat. We idolize them. Not to mention you. Never mind. You just oogle at them, let's say.
And that guy down there is clearly saying, I'm just going to point out right now, I apologize. He's clearly stating that he's sitting there in the seats not for kids because you can clearly see up their skirts. But...
Yeah. I mean, although he's kind of too tall, but I can probably, if I really try.
That's why it's not.
But Michael's like, yeah, I don't know how old Michael is. And so... we have all these sailors here in the bar, and the guy earlier is like, you can only come in here if you're tough. He was playing a prank, but at first I'm like, oh, there must be people in here that I can fight all the time. This is awesome. It must be just like the trainer club and all the different games. No, nobody in this place stinking fights you. Nobody at all. And I'm not even sure what you can do here for this point. Just talk to the people, and they all talk about how Mr. Verich has been buying them drinks like no tomorrow. Also, if you come down here, you can get a Pokemon chest, get a super potion, 50 HP revival, just a better version of a potion, stuff like that. But yeah, Mr. Verich this entire time has been buying them drinks on and on and on and on. And obviously, this town loves Mr. Verich because he's spoiling them.
That's not very responsible considering they're all sailors.
Yeah. Oh, and so, that elderly gentleman with the entourage in the back, that would be Mr. Verich, and he's quite the VIP, probably. He's been letting everybody in town feast on his money just because he'll be staying here for a while. See? Example, obviously. And this is the VIP room, where Mr. Verich comes all the time. However, you can never actually talk to him because at his butler guys, I'm gonna call them butler guys, even though they're his bodyguards. I like to think of them as butlers because they're little fancy dudes.
Mr. Verich tends to his many important business undertakings from Gateon Port. We do a lot of traveling from here. When we get some rare time off, we like to relax and unwind leisurely. I'll ask that you keep it quiet and refrain from disturbing us.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you never even get to talk to him. This guy is... Oh, yeah, he actually recognizes us as the kid from earlier. Jovi's like, hey, Mr. Cool Guy, you saved us. He's like, oh, that's all? Merely putting a fool in his place. Ardos is pretty cool. In fact, he's probably my favorite of the two. You actually see a lot of Mr. Verich throughout this game. He does a lot of different stuff, and you'll see that as it comes and goes. But that's another talk for a later date, because no spoilers for today, other than, I mean, few. You can also come here and talk up to these guys, and they're like, oh,
hello, what are you doing on the stage?
Yeah. And so, one of them even tells you to get off the stage, I believe. And if you come up here, this is like where the performers get together. And this is the Krabby couple, and I'm not sure why people would love their act so much, but apparently these two elderly people use these two Krabby to do some sort of magician show. Not a magician show, but some sort of act. And this guy is a wannabe magician. He's about to have his first debut, and I don't know if I ever see him do anything, so he probably sucked it up. Poor Mr. Magician. Yeah.
Magician that doesn't do magic. Kind of like Squibs, if you know.
Squibs?
I guess you'd have to read Harry Potter rather closely to know what a squib is, but it's basically
I only read one of the Harry Potter books.
It's basically a muggle who knows about the wizarding world and participates actively in the wizarding world, but can't do magic. So
yeah. So anyways, if you remember correctly, Jovi said earlier that she had some friends here, and speak of the devil, that's those two, and Emily and Acree. It's Emily's voice is probably the same as Jovi's voice, just a heads up. So I'm gonna let
all of
Sensei
my
take
girls
care
are
of it.
going to sound the exact same.
All your girls are gonna sound the exact same.
Yes,
Okay.
every single one.
Never
I can
mind.
only do one.
You didn't
girl
get what I was
voice.
going for. Never mind.
So was you, Jovi, being harassed by that big strange man. Were you okay? Yep, strong people helped us. Big Brother was there too, so nothing bad happened. Jovi came here on an important visit. Big Brother is Jovi's assistant today.
Not really. It's more like you're my assistant.
Oh, you must be Jovi's brother, Michael. I'm glad we finally met.
By the way, guys, if you
Oh
didn't
yeah,
see our
right.
last
We were
episode,
going to do that.
yeah, every single time there's an adult woman, I hate doing that, so I just gave them a deep man's voice. However, little children
Emily.
can't do that.
I'm Emily. Hi, Jovi's big brother.
Jovi has been a very nice friend to my daughter, Emily.
You know, I wonder how Jovi gets around, because that's Jovi is like obviously all over the place, but there's no way for her to get anywhere. I mean, I have a scooter, but apparently she just walks. How does she have a friend all the way out here? How does she know about Dr. Cam Nico? And how does she do all this stuff? I don't know.
She walks across the desert to get to all these places.
I can just picture her with like some sort of what do you call it? Is it a shaw? When you put like a big like cloak thing over you or
I
something?
guess.
I think that's the wrong word, but whatever. I can see her with like a shaw and a stick climbing across the desert like one step at a time. Must see Emily. Yeah. Anyways, so there's a few houses here before we do the rest of the Gateon Ports, and there's these guys here, although I'm pretty sure these guys don't really do anything.
Odyshes in 3D games drive me crazy with all that wiggling around.
And so these guys don't even do anything for you. In fact, most of the people in towns usually don't do anything for you. It's really quite pathetic.
They're really just there to add an atmosphere to the game.
Yeah.
So.
And so the only houses worth noting is this is Jovi's friend's house, and there's nothing worthwhile talking to that little girl for. She just talks to Jovi about playing, says no, we can't do that right now. But she is something that's kind of funny, because she's like,
I'm thinking of writing a novel with a character modeled after the much talked about Mr. Verich, who is the mysterious gentleman that suddenly arrived in Gateon Port. At times a generous tycoon, but his true identity, a swashbuckling thief. How's that for a promising story?
yeah, that's actually kind of promising. That's the only spoiler we'll
Not
go for
going
now.
to say anything.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Mr. Verich gives a very, very big part of the plot, just not until very late in the game. So she's not very far off from what she's saying. And so here we have the other important house, the part shop house, where we were supposed to go originally to get the part. However, if we talk to the people here, we'll find out that the shopkeeper actually isn't here at the moment, and what he's doing is he's trying to repair the bridge. We'll show you here in a second. But before we get to him, we don't have to. If you talk to this guy, he's some sort of sailor dude, and he's like, he's fixing the bridges, but I have something for you. I'll tell you an amazing story. Want to pass some time away? I'll tell you the tale, and you'll find it interesting. If you're like, yeah, he'll tell you it. If you say no, he'll tell you it. Don't be so close-minded. I'd like for you to hear this tale. It's people these days, you can't even tell them no. I'm bored out of my wits. Oh, that's why.
When I was younger, I sailed all the world's seas as a navigator. Our world is huge, and this huge world is filled with incredible profusion of Pokemon. Of all the Pokemon in the world, the one that I found to be most interesting is Eevee. Now, Eevee is a very unique Pokemon. It can evolve to 5 different groups of Pokemon. Cough. 8. You see,
This is Generation 3. They can evolve into 8.
Currently it's 8, and who knows, they might even add one more. If you don't know what we're talking about, Pokemon XY, current up-to-date Pokemon game. Yeah, I actually kind of want to play it, but we're playing a Pokemon game right now. Let's keep
I
on task
haven't
with
played Black or White yet, so...
Yeah, well, they suck, so don't even worry.
Anyways, while I sailed, I studied Eevee quite exhaustively. As a result, I obtained 5 items that are keys to Eevee's evolutions. Oh, you say that you're raising an Eevee? What a fortuitous
It sounds like you tried to misspell
Coincidence.
fortuitous.
Fortuitous, whatever. It's fortunous, but verb.
Fortuitous.
Words!
So he's misspelling it.
This must be what I meant to happen. Well, let me commemorate this occasion. Commemorate this occasion by giving you one of 5 items. There's no need to be so shy about it. Go ahead, choose one. And so okay.
Talking.
I keep saying he has 5 different stones. Well, not stones. 5 different items here, like he said, and 3 of them are the original stones from the original games. And there's the Water Stone, Thunder Stone, Fire Stone, and they can evolve you into the respective types. Because Eevee can go into 5 different types to this point in the game. It's the only Pokemon to do that many kinds of evolution. That's why Eevee is so special, like he said. However, Moon Shard and Sun Shard are items specific to this game only. They don't exist in any other game, because normally to get Umbreon or Espeon, the Psychic and Dark type evolutions of Eevee, you have to get Eevee's happiness all the way to full and then have to level it up. And when you level it up, it'll either be daytime or nighttime, depending on what time it is for you in the real world. And depending on that, it'll either become, for the daytime, Espeon, for the nighttime, Umbreon. But since this game doesn't have day or nighttime, they made it so you had Moon Shard, and Sun Shard.
I think...
So once you have your happiness all the way up, you can give the shard to Eevee, and that'll become what they become, instead of leveling up and evolving. So
I think, don't quote me on this, that Generation 3 itself is also somewhat of an exception. Because if I remember correctly, there is no night and day in Generation 3. It's just always daytime. It could just work with the real world time, maybe, but...
No, it has day and night time. They've had day and night time ever since Generation 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever
I haven't played that game in a while, with Generation 3.
Generation 3 was good. But back to the game we're on. So we discussed for a while our final team for this game, and we decided that we want to go with a Thunder type evolution of Eevee with Jolteon. Really, my favorite evolution for Eevee is Umbreon. Umbreon just kicks butt if you do it in the right way. However, Umbreon is a defensive type of Pokemon, and audience don't really like defensive battles. Audience like quick, fast, powerful battles.
Which
and
would have prompted us almost to choose Espeon.
Espeon is probably the strongest type you can go with, because he has super high special attack and has
aside from Alakazam, Espeon has the highest special attack of any non-legendary.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. But whatever the case, it has really high special attack, so it does make it really good either way. So we were like, oh, let's go with Espeon. And then we decided on a different Pokemon for a Psychic type, and so let's not double up, and we chose the next best one for all our situation, Jolteon, who is still super awesome because Jolteon has high special attack and the highest speed out of all 5 of these. And speed equals going first, so why not?
And the best part about this game is we're going to be capturing a lot of Shadow Pokemon, so it helps that our main Pokemon can learn Thunder Wave.
Yeah, and so Thunder Wave is a really useful thing for catching Pokemon because it paralyzes instantly. And so, in fact, there's a move tutor who we'll see in a couple episodes, maybe just next episode, who teaches Thunder Wave, which will make it quite, as this man would say, fortuitous. Something. Words! And so after you've talked to these guys, you can go outside and you can walk north. And after walking north, this guy will fix the bridge. He's already fixed the bridge, and he'll turn it around. If you come out here before talking to them, he's still working on it. So it's one of those trigger events. And once he's fixed the bridge and has activated it, he comes walking over, and he's like,
Whoa, that settles it, man. All fixed. You want to talk to me?
yeah, the part shop is ours. Huh? You need a machine part? Where's Grandpa? Ah, he's off to Dark Kamiko's. Ah, stupid Dark Kamiko. That was the guy we saw earlier. Ah, when my grandpa gets excited over something mechanical, he's off in his shop. Never mind the shop and his grandson. I'll find that machine part you need. Can you come to our shop, man? Yeah, so that was Pear. He's pretty cool, although he strikes me as one of those, like, surfer dudes.
If I remember correctly, I think he was one of the little kids that the mayor had in Pokemon Coliseum.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised because it's been 5 years, so he might have he might be like, I don't know, 12 to 16 or 18 at this moment. So he might have been in a previous game. It's actually one of those things you can notice. Man, Grandpa should be so lucky to have a caring grandson like me looking after him. Yeah, well, your grandpa is kind of loopy. Anyways, if we go that direction, we can get to a lighthouse where we can get some shadow Pokemon and we can get some items. But before we go right there, there's a sailor guy right here that we want to talk to.
The sea is wide, it's fathoms deep, so full of Pokemon, it'll make you weep.
That was amazing.
By the way, we made that on the spot. And so he's like, "Huh, what's up, kid? Were you captivated by my singing?" Well, I was the one singing, so maybe. I'll have you know that I placed second in the Krabby Club's music contest. Well, that's kind of impressive if there were more people living here. And so he's like, "Are you captivated?" And if you say yes, he's like, "Oh, thank you," and you go on your merry way. If you say no, then something good happens. He's like, "Oh, you weren't? Then let me guess. You came here for a Pokemon battle, right? If you can beat me, you'll get something good." And so he's not lying. He's actually kind of a cool sailor dude. We just got to beat him in a Pokemon battle, like he said. He just sends out 2 level 6 guys, like we saw earlier. And there's still baby Pokemon, because it's like the beginning of the game. And the beginning game seems to like using little pathetic Pokemon, because all we have is little pathetic Pokemon. The coolest thing that...
Oh, we forgot to use our Thunderstone.
Oh, no. Actually, I was going to explain that. I almost forgot. I'll explain it after this battle. Or I could explain it right now while I kick the crud out of some of these Pokemon. So what I was going to do with the Thunderstone is it's easier to level up Pokemon while they're in younger forms. And the difference between leveling up Pokemon during their younger form and leveling them up during their adult form is, one, the young form is quicker to level up and they get certain attacks sooner. However, with specific item Pokemon like Jolteon, you can miss learning certain moves that only Jolteon can learn if you wait too long. So, the only move we have to worry about is Spark. Spark is
and really you want to try and do it as soon as possible and really avoid the whole leveling up faster kind of thing, because what happens is an evolved Pokemon will gain IVs faster.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No,
Stronger Pokemon that have been stronger, Pokemon that have been evolved for a longer time will gain EVs and IVs slightly faster and become slightly more powerful.
Well, Sensei, IVs are determined at birth of Pokemon, so there is no way to improve IVs. If you're talking about EVs, you gain the same amount of EVs no matter what you do. But I don't want to get too into this. I'll explain afterwards. But I just want to get back to the game we're at right now because it's kind of advanced Pokemon stuff. And so I'd rather, keep at the moment. So anyways, now, sorry for that brief intermission. But if you go onwards from here, you can get to the lighthouse by taking a certain route. And that certain route we'll actually have to do in the next episode because we've reached our time limits. I was hoping to do Gateon Port in one episode, but, do it on the fly. We'll be seeing you guys next time. Peace out, been J-Ron.
And Sensei Me 2 and 3 for 5.
And see you guys next time.